Never mind, my audio's up now. I need to get my chat up. Let's see if I can do that. How do I pull up my chat? There it is. There's my chat. Up. Let's see if I can do that. Okay. All right. Back to editing. All right. Let's get this one done next. We'll select all these to move them over together. I can group them by hitting G. They're grouped. Nope, just kidding. Let's try it again. G. Grouped, yep. I need to add some visuals for this. So let's go to my Explorer. And this is part 3. I got a lot of part 3s. Let's add that. Let's add another one. Right click, add a video track. Let's bring this down. Add another one. Let's zoom in on this. It's 1, 2, 3. Part 3 still. Boy, I got a lot of these. More the better. Let's see what I want here. Let's move these out of the way a little bit. Let's multi-select, but hold down Shift. Slide this over. Let's make sure the sync cursor's off for now. Let's mute the other channels. And let's see, where should I put this stuff? Looks decent. Put these down here. Let's extend this. Let's look at this one. Naive. Let's hit the pan crop tool. Sync cursor's off. Let's find a good spot for her. Let's flip this horizontal. Let's make it bigger. Right click, output to match. Let's do that. Let's extend this out. Let's move these down. Extend this over. I'm going to transition matte somewhere here, so let's bring these here. What's this about? That's her and her. So these are at the end. Okay. We could just put her on this side, flipped, horizontal. Let's make it bigger. I know it looks funky, but right click, match output aspect. Put that there. And this is talking about Matt, right?
Tricon. So the daughter Eravandor. I mean, she is going to be because of the
Oh, Matt's at the end. So never mind. Let's move these out here. Let's move this to the back of that. Let's shrink that down. Let's put her in the same angle and side as this bottom track. We'll transition for 1 second. Transition for 1 second. Let's pan crop edit. And let's also flip this. And we'll transition to make it bigger. Okay. Let's get her in there.
In to take full responsibility and the repercussion. Is that a mark of a great leader? I like her.
I definitely like Elaine Tricon. So the daughter heir of Andor. I mean, she is going to be very important going forward. Very glad we got to see her on screen. Got to see her and Egwene becoming pals. Leandrin kind of trying.
I need to make this more pronounced, just because their play trigger a copyright, so I need to cover up more. Let's do that.
Is that a mark of a great leader? I like her.
I definitely like Elaine Tricon. So the daughter heir of Andor. I mean, she is going to be very important going forward.
Okay.
Definitely something different. It's an interesting take on it. I believe they had to do it because of the move. What happened with Bernie Harris leaving the show, and we got a new Matt, and they're just kind of hopefully just putting the pieces in the right places.
Okay, I need to get a shot of Matt. I think that looks good right there. So let's mute everything, but let's make it solo. There's an S icon here for solo. In Vegas, you're able to copy snapshot. I'll get that. Then open up GIMP or Photoshop if you want. Paste. And we're going to go delete the borders. Let's make this bigger. Just get the majority off here. He's going to be on the right side mostly, so I don't need his left here, but we can make it like this in case I'm going to use it later for something else. No, leave that. Let's switch to a different paintbrush. Just give it a little bit flair or flavor, I guess you can say. And in this mode, there is an alpha channel, in case you guys don't know what that is. Alpha channel is something that is transparent. Depending on the program, if it detects alpha channel, it allows it to pick up whatever's behind it. Just like what I said earlier, transparent, right? So let's grab this. I guess it's what you call feathering a little bit. So it's not a hard edge. I mean, I could do the hard edge, but that's extra work, and I'll be honest, I'm not proficient in this to be worth my time. I think this gives it an easier path, but also an artistic perspective on it. Let's go to this. Let's make this bigger. Let's make sure I pick up any extra junk laying around. I'm going to get these edges because in case it's going to be a floating PNG, it's not going to be a hard edge. And just preparing for the future in case I use it for different reasons, for different purposes. Because whatever that's checkerboard here is what is going to be underneath. So we'll see what's underneath this track or this PNG. And whatever we see will obviously be on top. Okay, so let's save this. It's not save, you want to export it. Let's switch this to PNG. That's important because if you save it as JPEG, it will not have the right stuff. And what section was this? Let's go back to, this is the one before the last, so third. Let's go back to GIMP. I am trying to stay organized by organizing this third, and there's a 006. Let's call it Matt. Export it, PNG. We'll minimize this back to here. Let's go to Explore. Let's refresh this. Yeah. No, thank God. Let's hit the refresh button. Go back in, and now it should be here. So, Matt, there it is. Let's bring this down to here. Make this overlap to the 1 minute crossfade. That doesn't look right. Yeah, that's why. There we go. So they both crossfade about the same time window, and let's rearrange this. Let's take it off solo. And put him on the bottom right somewhere. Let's make him bigger. Match output aspect. Let's play this.
Definitely something different. It's an interesting take on it. I believe they had to do it because of the.
Because it covers up a lot, which is important, so it doesn't trigger the copyright. I can make the video feed. Make sure these diamond markers are not synced, and I could set it to display how I want it to display. This is probably where I'm going to go to mask, and I'm going to put a circular environment in there, so it's not a hard edge. And I'm going to feather it. So let's feather, type, let's try in, let's go, I think 44%, let's try that. Obviously too much, let's go 22. Okay.
Definitely something different. It's an interesting take on it. I believe
It covers up her, or I can go back to position. And let's get a picture of where we get the red Aes Sedai and him, and try to sneak this in here.
definitely something different. It's an interesting take on it. I believe they had to do it because of the move. What happened with Bernie Harris leaving the show, and we got a new Matt, and they're just kind of hopefully just putting the place at the people.
Let's go back to mask. Let's see if I can make. Should we cheat to the left? Let's cheat by turning this down.
It's an interesting take on it. I believe they had to do it because of the move. It was it's an interesting take on it. I believe they had to do it because of the move. What happened with Bernie Harris leaving the show, and we got a new Matt, and they're just kind of hopefully just putting the pieces in the
Yeah,
right
a lot
places
better.
to get people to where they need to be. Really hoping that's what's going on.
All right. Let's save that. Okay. That should be decent.
Naive finally gets to be in her comfort zone with seeing someone being treated or cared for. It's a great reminder for us at her core who Naive is. However, was like ushered by the Red Aes Sedai, and
Okay, let me check something here. Why can't I get my chat up here? Not that anybody's in here, but it popped up last time, but I can't find it this time. Okay, anyways. I doubt anybody's gonna be watching this anyways. Right? Come on, who's kidding who? I need a byte rate of 9,500. I need to check some settings here real quick. Stream. Output. There it is. 9,500. Let's try that. Change this to 9,500. We'll apply. Hope that fixes it. Okay. All right. Anyways.
yeah. So let's take it to the village fight here. I'm sorry, to Moraine. Let's take it to Moraine and Varen. The Brown Aes Sedai. Varen. The Brown Aes Sedai knows a lot. The Brown Aes Sedai knows a lot and maybe too much. At what cost will she go to get that information? I question that.
Knowledge is definitely her sharp side of the blade. What doesn't she know, right? And yeah, she told the Brown Aes Sedai that her loyalty is with Rand as a reminder. The trust between them will always be less. I'll say that again just to repeat. I think I could do it better. Oh yeah, she told the Brown Aes Sedai, Moran told the Brown Aes Sedai that her loyalty is with Rand, as a reminder. The trust between them will always be less. I find that interesting. Another powerful statement during this moment. Yes. I'll say that again just to repeat. I think the trust between them will always be less. Brown Aes Sedai that her loyalty is with Rand as a reminder. The trust between them will always be less. The Brown Aes Sedai that her and yeah, she told the Brown Aes Sedai that her loyalty is with Rand as a reminder. She told
Put a marker down just to flag where I need to.
Brown Aes Sedai that her loyalty is with Rand told the Brown Aes Sedai that her loyalty is with Rand as a reminder. The trust between them will always be less. I'll say that again just to repeat. I think I could do it better. Oh yeah, she told the Brown Aes Sedai, Moran told the Brown Aes Sedai that her loyalty is with Rand. Told the Brown Aes Sedai that her loyalty.
Hold down shift to get to here. Let's select the tracks in this blue region. Right click. Split. Let's delete this and see how this sounds.
And yeah, she told the Brown Aes Sedai that her loyalty is with Rand, and yeah, she told the Brown Aes Sedai. The Brown Aes Sedai. Told the Brown Aes Sedai. Told the Brown Aes Sedai. Told the.
Not quite. Let's move it to here.
And yeah, she told Brown Aes Sedai that her loyalty is with Rand, as if it as a reminder the trust between them will always be less. I find that interesting. Another powerful statement during this moment was with Lan. I know they are not talking often, but the very few times it was very poignant. When the time comes, you will be able to survive on your own or survive alone. I thought that was very powerful. It felt like having terminal cancer and not telling your loved ones, but conditioning them for that transfer of responsibility when that day comes. Very powerful. Yeah, it's almost like a little bit of foreshadow, right? The very little communication with Lan, she is very intentional. I'm sorry, she's very intentional. Is very intentional. I'm sorry, she's very intentional. With Lan, she is very intentional. I'm sorry, she's very intentional.
Let's do a cut take here. Blue highlighted, shift, click for the tracks within the blue region, right click, split just to make sure. Okay, let's hit delete. Let's grab this and see how that sounds.
Lan, she's very intentional. The very little communication with Lan, she's very intentional.
So it was a hard transition, so let's bring this out a little bit further. And the reason being is that I had my hand up.
Communication with Lan, she's very intentional. Communication with Lan, she's very.
Yeah, this might be a hard one here. Let's try this.
I'm sorry, she's very intentional. Communication with Lan, she's very intentional. Intentional. Jesus. No, I think 100% right. A little bit of foreshadow, right? The very little communication with Lan, she's very. Is very intentional. I'm sorry, she's very intentional.
Can't fucking talk.
I'm sorry, she's very intentional. Intentional.
Let's find a good
Foreshadow,
spot
right?
here.
The very little communication with Lan, she is very intentional. I'm sorry, she's very intentional.
I think this will do here.
She's very intentional. Intentional. Lan, she's very. Lan, she's very intentional. Intentional.
All right, let's cut take this too. Let's see what Daryl's saying here.
No, I think 100% right. No, I
Probably can do this to here. Highlight these, right click. Let's get rid of this. Let's move these over.
she's Lan, she's very intentional. No, I think 100% right. She is intentional with what she's doing. I mean, if we look at just what happened in season 1 with Stephen when he lost his Aes Sedai, he killed himself. So Moraine is doing things in the show in such a way to prep Lan for something tragic to happen, which kind of happened in the books, just slightly different. Okay. Lan, instead of going off with Alana, went off with another Aes Sedai. Oh. She did transfer the bond to someone else, but she did it for a reason that hopefully we get to see play out later. The biggest thing, kind of one of the lines that stood out to me is she just said we were never equals. And the one thing that we haven't explored much yet is Lan. There's so much more to him that we don't know yet, and I hope that we really get to dive in and see more about who Lan Mondragon is and what I feel that statement isn't exactly how we took it, you know? I think it's a setup for something later. Okay. Let's take it to the village fight, the last piece here.
Okay, that one's done.
I feel that statement isn't exactly how we took it, you know? I think it's a setup for something later. Okay.
Let's cut this S. Let's move this off. And I know there's a little bit of audio
I think it's a setup for something later. Okay. I think it's a setup for something later. Okay. Let's take it to the village fight, the last piece here. Actually, I'll have you talk about the quick change first. If you want to transition somehow. Yeah, sure.
All right. Just copy this. Paste that. Let's move the 5 over. All right, so this one is done somewhat. Still more work to do. Let's just be organized here. Let's move these down here. Okay. And let's get the window. They're talking about who?
class will
again?
she go to get that information? I question that. Knowledge is definitely her sharp side of the blade.
Okay, I remember. Let's scrub for this now. All right, so they were probably 2/3 of the way in of the show. Here it is. No, this is part of it, but not it. Well, let's still cut here. Split, move it over. I'll need that in a second. Let's hunt for the one before this. Oh, sorry. Let's Control Z to undo that. Let's go to the left. No, there's more to that. Let's move this over more. And now it's more to the left. Okay, that's a fight scene at the village. And that was the end of the looped back over. I know what scene I want, and I just don't know where it's at. But I think we're coming up close. I went over it. What? Oh, here it is. Bingo. All right, so let's move this over to my marker. It auto snaps. That's what I want, and see how long this goes. The dagger scene. Let's hit save just to be safe. Sometimes it locks up. Okay. So it ends about here. Okay, let's slide this over to that snap spot. Let's move this in the region. It does cover it. So now the question is, which one is more important? This scene? Not really. Yeah, let's leave that off. Let's go with this then. All right. I need to shave about a second off. Let's run this solo. I'll probably cut a little bit at the beginning there. Let's see. Let's see the ending of this. Okay, let's go in here. Okay. Let's see how this looks. Oops. All right. Yeah, this is good. Let's get it off solo.
The brown Aes Sedai knows a lot and maybe too much. At what cost will she go to get that information? I question that. Knowledge is definitely her sharp side of the blade. What doesn't she know, right? And yeah, she told brown Aes Sedai that her loyal. Yeah, sure.
All right, let's add the Explorer. All right, let's add the Explorer. That's part 4. The Prisoner. Let's look what that is. Oh, that's at the end. Not yet. Part 4 Moran. And there, and there. Let's mute this. Mute, 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 and mute. Let's move this down one. Stretch this out. Let's work on this one. Click on the pan crop. And then let's put this in a good spot. Let's make it bigger. And then match the output. Okay, that's good. Stretch that out, stretch this one out. Pan crop. Match output ratio, that is. Okay. And let's fix the video on this. Pan crop this. Let's go to mask. Let's add a circular. Or more of an ellipse, but not circular. Let's feather this. Both. Let's set this to 11%. And then let's go to position. Make this smaller. See how that looks. I need a little bit more feathering. I'll move this up a little bit. Let's bring this up to 15. Trying to avoid the hard lines. Okay, this should be good. Let's get off mute. Let's save this.
Yeah, sure. So taking it from Marine and Land, you mean? Yeah. Like to the fight? Fight, yeah. So if I just... So if I just pick up that last line, so with... So with Lan leaving, going off with Alana.
Let's bump up the speed a little bit. You can move the caret down here to set it.
So with
You could double click on the caret to reset that.
Lan leaving, going off with Alana, it kind of brings us towards the end of the show, right? We got that fight at the end, parents sleeping in the middle of the night, the Shanshan soldiers coming in, attacking people in the rooms. We got to see Masima, shirtless, fighting in one scene, and then dressed in his armor in the next scene. I thought that was a unique move on his part. That actor also played Cedric in The Last Kingdom, so I'm glad to see his sword arm still good. Right. I'm glad you brought up that piece up. I love The Last Kingdom, one of my all-time favorites in the top 10 for sure, and actually might be stacked even higher in top 5. But that quick change that you're talking about, that is some special armor, because from all the medieval knowledge I know, I've seen on the big screen, the knights tend to have some type of squire to help them get into and out of the full suit armor. So, brah, that is extremely efficient, or one damn special magical armor. But during the action in the village, right, it was obvious it was a capture mission and not a killing site. And we find out who was involved near the end. Ishmael. Go figure. It's like something devilish brewing. Ishmael is cooking something for someone. Those girls with the binkies, the big binky, I call them binky girls, they look like they are insane. And don't care for words. Powerful and crazy. And one last thing of the village fight for me is the Loyal, the Ogier. They were planning, they were like playing tug of war at all angles, just to hold him down and try to control him. Just to show how powerful he can be. It was a good thing it was a capture mission because they were caught off guard and outnumbered. And that could have been a big slaughter. So I'm glad it's a capture mission. So one point you brought up, I want to just point this out. The Dark Prince also, the meaning at the beginning, we did see the lacquered nails of Ashanshan blood, and he shows up with Ashanshan of the blood. I mean, I know her name, but they haven't mentioned it yet, so hopefully we get to see who that is going forward. This is good. This is definitely a change, but an acceptable change. Okay, awesome.
Okay, let's shrink this end piece down a little bit. Oops, it's not connected. Let's try it again. Group. Don't know why it's not. That's really weird. There we go.
Acceptable change. Okay.
All right, so this is talking about the village fight, and that's definitely at the end. Let's scrub for that. And here it is. And there it goes. Let's check the length. Definitely too long, but we definitely want this evil dude on there. So I could speed it up. No, let's not do that. Let's chop it really far down, put it in its spot, and pull this out.
So with Lan leaving, going off with Alana. Going off with Alana, it kind of brings us towards the end of the show, right? We got that fight at the end, parents sleeping in the middle of the night, the Shanshan soldiers coming in, attacking people in the rooms. We got to see Masima, shirtless, fighting in one scene, and then dressed in his armor in the next scene. I thought that was a unique move on his part.
Okay. Let's get all solo. Let's get in the special effects. P5. Perrin. Ogier. Warrior dude. And Lanfear. Okay. So let's bring this down here. Let's work on this one. Let's make this solo. Let's try that. Let's move this down. Gear. Want to transition anything? I do. Where's some good spot transition?
Right, right. I'm glad you brought up that piece up. I love The Last Kingdom, one of my all-time favorites in the top 10 for sure. And actually might be stacking higher in top 5. But,
Yeah, this is gotta be about here. So let's take care of Ogier. Let's mute, 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 and mute. Let's transition from Ogier on this one. That's Lanfear. Okay, let's work on him. Let's make this dude bigger. Look at those biceps, yo. He's definitely cut and ready to take on more acting jobs. Do I want to get his arm in there? Let's try that. Okay. Let's get these off mute.
So with Lamb leading, going off with Alana, it kind of brings us towards the end of the show, right? We got that fight at the end, Perrin sleeping in the middle of the night, the Seanchan soldiers coming in, attacking people in the rooms. We got to see Massima, shirtless, fighting in one scene, and then dressed in his armor in the next scene. I thought that was a unique move on his part. That actor also played Cedric in The Last Kingdom, so I'm glad to see his sword arm still good. Right, right. I'm glad you brought up that piece up. I love The Last Kingdom, one of my all-time favorites in the top 10 for sure, and actually might be stacking higher in top 5. But that quick change that you're talking about, that is some special armor, because from all the medieval knowledge I know, I've seen on the big screen, the knights tend to have some type of squire to help them get into and out of the full suit armor. So, bro, that is extremely efficient or one damn special magical armor. But during the action in the village, right, it was obvious it was a capture mission and not a killing site. And we find out who was involved near the end. Ishmael. Go figure. It's like something devilish brewing. Ishmael is cooking something for someone. Those girls with the binkies, the big binky, I call them binky girls, they look like they are insane. Insane, and don't care for words. Powerful and crazy. And one last thing in the village fight for me is the Loyal, the Ogier. They were planning, they were like playing tug of war on all angles, just to hold him down and try to control him. Just to show how powerful he can be. It was a good thing it was a capture mission because they were caught off guard and outnumbered. And that could have been a big slaughter. So I'm glad it's a capture mission. So one point you brought up, I want to just the meaning at the beginning. We did see the lacquered nails of Ashanshan blood, and he shows up with Ashanshan of the blood. I mean, I know her name, but they haven't mentioned it yet, so hopefully we get to see who that is.
Okay. Why is he not being used? Oh, he's up here already. No, he's not. I need to put him in. All right, you need to go in somewhere. Let's see where that topic is on.
Yeah, the show did show a good side of the screen. I know that, getting inside of Rand's head a little bit, if they're showing us how he thinks, that's really awesome. Another good look at how this episode or the season is showing a little bit more how people think. Let's look at the Casilo Gain. He's looking for something. Hopefully we get to see at the Energetic Casilo Gain he's put in place. That's a pretty valid point. You got the Energetic Casilo Gain.
place. That's a pretty valid point. You got in there to see Logain. He's looking for something. Hopefully, we get to see more of those two together on screen. I know that getting inside of Rand's head a little bit. If they're showing us how he thinks, that's really awesome. Another good look at how this episode or the season is showing a little bit more how people think. Let's look at Perrin.
Okay. All right, fellas, I'm going to take another break. And I might stream again. Maybe, maybe not. But definitely, if you want to see our prior episode, the finished product, head over to let's start that again. Watchers and Readers. Watchers and Readers channel. And we have episode 1 from season 2 that we uploaded last week, I believe, middle of last week. And we should finish here with episode 2 very soon. Appreciate the likes and subscribe. Thank you. And I might do more of these. I might not, just depending if people are interested or not. Curious how editing works. The more people show up and ask questions, I could definitely try to help out with what I do know. I'm not an expert at this, but comfortable enough to put out something. And you could see that again at the Watchers and Readers. See you there, and see you next time.